so there will be a hearing, and whatever the draft goal is will be presented.
So this has not been set.
No, it's draft. It's a draft.
Yeah.
That's what it's comments.
We got so quiet. Good afternoon. Is it afternoon? I guess so. I'm so sorry I'm late. Hello, everyone. I'm Kris Mayes, your Attorney General. Thank you for having me back to this beautiful community.
Mike's not on.
Mike's not on, you're right. Is that on? Okay. How's that? Is that better?
No.
Not a lot better. I'm going to have to speak loudly, I think. But I'm Kris Mayes, I'm your Attorney General, and it is so good to be back here in this beautiful community, and it's my honor to be here to make this announcement and to lay it out for you. I'm going to try to read from these comments if I can. You know, in February of 2024, I see many familiar faces. Many of you were here with me in February of 2024. I stood here in this room filled with members of this community and heard countless stories of wells that had gone dry, roads, and even houses that were damaged by land subsidence, and fears that without intervention, things would get worse and worse. Longtime residents, you're gonna help me out here. Okay, thank you. Longtime residents told me that they were afraid that without intervention, they wouldn't be able to stay in the communities that they loved if groundwater supplies continued to be depleted. Retirees who had spent their life savings to buy property to live in this quiet and beautiful part of our state worried that their investments were at risk and did not know what they would do if they no longer could access water supplies. I remember one resident, her name was Tracy Page, summed up the feeling of many in this room when she said, quote, "All we want is to live a quiet life and have water." In the 2 legislative sessions that have come and gone since that town hall, we have yet to see action by the legislature to address these concerns, but my office has been busy trying to address the problem with the tools that I have available. Last year, as many of you know, I sued Fondamonte in La Paz County for their actions that we allege have created a public nuisance for communities like Wendon and Vicksburg in western Arizona. We sued under nuisance law. And for the past year and a half, we have been investigating the actions of Riverview Dairy here in Cochise County. But unlike Fondamonte, Riverview and its owners have engaged with us over the past year to attempt to come to a compromise that will help the residents here near the dairy and surrounding areas. So today, I am proud to announce a settlement with Riverview LLP that will reduce groundwater usage by the dairy and provide funding to redrill wells, provide tanks, and water hauling services to ensure that residents and schools have water access. Riverview has agreed to provide $11 million in funding, split between 2 funds to help ensure continued access to potable water for residents of the Sulphur Springs Valley here in Cochise County. Additionally, Riverview has also agreed to fallow 2,000 acres of farmland here in the valley, reducing groundwater usage and conserving more water for the future. And are these slides behind me? Are we okay? Yeah. Here we have the terms of the agreement. So 2,000 acres of irrigated farmland to be fallowed, that acreage transitioned to a different use, such as grazing habitat or other non-row crops. It's my understanding that the cost of that to the company is around $18 million in lost profits and costs. And then the amount of water, we'll get to that in a second, is significant as well. Look, can you go back, Delaney? Riverview has also agreed to continue its to use best management practices for its operations. Go to the next slide. This is the real reductions in groundwater pumping that will result from the fallowing of that water. So you see that we estimate that it will avoid more than 100,000 acre feet of groundwater pumping here between 2026 and 2040. That's the cumulative estimated avoided groundwater pumping due to the Riverview cropland conversion. Go to the next slide. And this is a chart that also shows you that, so this, if I can get over here, this brown area represents the Riverview agreement fallowing. The blue area represents the cumulative pumping reductions due to the AMAs. And so you can see that there's a significant amount of reduction as a result of what Riverview has agreed to, even relative to the AMA. The other thing that's important about the agreement is that the company is agreeing to use less water and do it more quickly than they would have to do under the AMA. So that's a significant feature of this. As they fallow the land over the next 12 years, they will have strict reporting requirements to the Attorney General's office, and they are, and this is very important, prohibited from transferring or from selling or transferring the fallowed acreage without the non-row crop requirement, or it must fallow an equivalent number of acres, substitute acreage. Next slide. So, Riverview has agreed to deposit, spend this amount of money, $11 million for well drilling, water hauling, and groundwater access. And let me detail a little bit about that. That money will go into two funds, so two separate funds to help ensure continued access to potable water due to falling groundwater levels within the valley. The funds can be used to drill new wells for those who need it, install water tanks, support water hauling, and fund other emergency or interim residential water supply measures. And by the way, I'll take questions in a second. So I know folks will have questions and comments and insults if you have some, as John McCain used to say. The Riverview funding commitment will be directed to those impacted by declining groundwater levels within a 1 to 6 mile radius of any Riverview irrigation well. The Sulphur Springs Valley Water Fund will be directed toward those impacted by declining groundwater levels outside of a 1.6 mile radius of any Riverview irrigation well. So there is a radius for the fund that Riverview will control and fund of 1.6 miles, and then outside of that radius, another 1.6 miles that will be controlled by a non-profit organization. And so the $5.5 million, again, will be administered, for those inside that radius, administered by Riverview. That fund will also support the construction and installation of replacement groundwater wells, tank systems, water fill stations, and water hauling services for residential use, and the funding and expansion of existing community water systems. The money will be available for impacted residents, schools, and special districts, water companies, or municipalities that provide domestic water services. Let's go to the next slide. Again, so for the community, by the community, this is the community fund to be controlled by the nonprofit. That's another $5.5 million. It will be informed by a 5-member review panel appointed by the Sulphur Spring Alliance, the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy's Babbitt Center for Land and Water Policy, and the Arizona State University's Sustainability Institute, and the Water Resources Research Center at the University of Arizona, and the nonprofit. So that's how that will work, and we can get more into that in a second. So this money will be prioritized for impacted individuals to replace or re-drill groundwater wells and provide access to tank systems, water fill stations, and water hauling. The administering nonprofit will open applications for assistance from this fund on April 8th of this year, so coming up soon. And other than making the required contributions, Riverview will not have any approval, veto, or control over the Sulphur Springs Water Fund uses, policies, awards, or administration. So that's how that will work. We have the other slides in there with the, oh wait, with the graphs? Did I ever go through them? Oh yeah, we did, okay, never mind, okay. So that, you know, that is those are the essential details of this. And let me close by saying this, and then I want to take your questions and as I said, comments and thoughts. I've said this before, the town hall that I had with you now several years ago was probably the most impactful town hall I have ever had. And I've done hundreds of town halls. Second most impactful was the ADI town hall I just did in Benson, but this one I think tops that one. And one of the things that we came away from that with was that we have to do something. Do I think this is the perfect deal and the perfect agreement? No. No, it's not everything that I was looking for by a long shot. I will tell you that. And it's also not the end of the story of our involvement in this valley. There is much more to be done. But I do think that this is the first of its kind agreement, not just in this state, but anywhere in the country, where a major ag user has agreed to fund a fund like this and has agreed to fallow this much acreage. So it's a start for me, and I suspect it's just a start for you, and I suspect you have a lot of questions. But, you know, as a daughter of rural Arizona, as you guys know, I was born and raised in Prescott. I don't think there's anything more important than standing up for rural Arizona, and I will promise you I will continue to do that. So with that, I'm going to open it up for questions first from the community, and then we can do press questions later, if that makes sense.
And if you would just either stand up and raise your hand, and then when she points to you, just introduce yourself, and then feel free to speak.
Yes, sir.
Vernon Johnson, Arizona Agricultural Solutions. So I'm sitting here to the back, and I've got a few years on me. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be. Was that 2,000 acres we're setting out?
2,000 fallowed
Yeah.
acres, yes.
Okay. So, 2,000 acres, guys, we use it on a normal row crop year, we're gonna use 6 acre feet, if it's pecans. You do a double crop system with corn, maybe you get to 8. 8 times 2,000, so that's 16,000 acre feet. Go back to that slide, you're trying to get rid of 100,000 acre feet. No, math don't add up. Where's that gonna come? Is that gonna be in the AMA where we're gonna get actual family farms? Family people that matter in this?
Over 15
You're
years.
gonna provide
That's
water
over,
back to people,
sir,
which
that's
is
over
great.
15 years.
Over
so-
15 years, so we're doing 2,000 a year for 15 years?
No. So you're gonna go back to the.
It's the
well,
cumulative impact.
It's the cumulative impact of that. So
Math
I think
doesn't
that- I
add
think
up,
the
guys.
maths, but I can have Andy come forward and, or others, Andy, if you wanna come forward and speak to that. And then while he's coming forward, we'll take another question.
Can we talk to them now? Talk later?
Okay, another question?
No, I think everybody wants to answer my question.
Well,
All right.
okay.
So, over 15 years, you fallow 2,000 acres over that period. It's gonna be a phased fallowing. But over the course of that 15 years, you're gonna, I think at the peak, our internal estimate was that would be about 11,000 acre feet avoided. So when you add all that up over 15 years, that's more than 100,000 acre feet.
Interesting way of looking at it.
I-
I mean, that's the way our hydrologist looks at it. So the other thing that we did is that for the first time in the history of the Attorney General's office, we hired a hydrologist to study the impact of Riverview on this basin, on the basins, and to give us an estimate of, you know, what we needed to do and what would be impactful. Now, do I agree with you that more should be done? And I will be looking to major ag users to voluntarily come forward and join with Riverview in both fallowing and contributing to this fund, okay? As I said, this is the first step. And, you know, what this will do, and if we could go back to the chart, this one, what this it does, again, this is the Riverview deal, okay? Compared to the AMA. And you see the Riverview deal starts a full, I think, 5 years before the AMA restrictions start. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you that more needs to be done, right? But
But the
Riverview,
biggest player in the valley is going to have just a drop in the bucket. That's all it is.
I guess I would quibble with that.
The rest of the family farms that exist are gonna be the ones that are gonna be, the minority acreage is going to be expected to do more. And that's what we'll likely see coming forward, that's all.
Let's talk afterwards. I guess I would disagree with that characterization, but I understand your concerns. There are other non-small family farms that I think can contribute to the fund and the fallowing. Non-small family farms, that I think